Hi everyone and welcome to 1/6 Figure Focus, and you're very welcome to episode number, I think it's number 13 of Visions, where every different episode I sit down with a different member of the collecting community and discuss the past, the present and the future of their collecting journey. Now this next guy, he has a lot of different aliases. So sometimes he's referred to as 1/6 Fix. Sometimes he's referred to as the 6 scale scoundrel, just not by Gigi. I don't think she quite likes when people call him that, or more he calls himself that. I'm just going to call him Marco. Marco, how are you?
Shane, I'm doing terrific today. Thank you for having me. How are you doing today?
Good, all good. Just came off Collector's Lounge. I have to apologize to you for starters, and apologize to everyone else who's joining us. We have 22 in the chat already. Cheers.
Cheers, brother.
For being a bit late, I had to reschedule it twice, but now look, we're here anyway. We have 22 people here. I really do appreciate that. So yeah, we're going to talk for about an hour, and obviously Marco is going to do most of the talking about his past, the present and the future of his collecting journey. Even though that's mostly 6 scales, you can bring in any scales you want, or we can talk about like what you have collected in the past and stuff like that. You know the rules. Anytime you hear the following question, I'm going to prefer the following sound. I'm going to put you under a little bit of pressure. I'm going to ask you what I've deemed focus questions. Now,
I am no good under pressure too.
Excellent. Well, we're going to ask you some rough ones.
Yes,
it's all a bit of fun.
Sounds good.
Very quickly, I'm going to address the people in the chat. So, I think my crew, well, not my crew, I think it's Lael's crew. I think we're all a crew, but have followed me from Collector's Lounge and showing the support, which is massive.
Love to see it.
He is, yeah, exactly. He's he is the bricks and mortar of the collecting community, and he's very positive, and obviously,
and my father as well, which is crazy.
He's your father?
He is, yeah. I didn't know if you knew that, but he's my pops.
No.
Yeah.
Who? I must have missed the context. You can tell me.
Missed
is it suitable to explain on screen?
Yeah, no. So he looks just like my dad when he was younger. Like I pulled up pictures to show he and Phoebe, and they were both cracking up because Loco Lou looks just like my pops. So that's why I call him Dad or Pops all the time.
That's funny. So we have Marco's dad in the chat, Loco Lou, and he says we got 10 people on deck. This chat. I need you all to hit the like button on the way in. We've 24 now. Hopefully they've hit the like button on the way in. Kinky Sphincter, let's go again. Massive. Isn't it great where you've been watching YouTubers before you had a YouTube channel, and you notice the same kind of staples in the chat community. You know, people that keep the chat going, people who support all the different YouTubers like Kinky Sphincter, Bob Dylan, Doc Smizzle, Commander Green, Single Songwriter, all these people. And then when they pop in, the OG Star Wars fan, when Star Wars is just Star Wars, and then these people pop in your live stream, it's very humbling. Like it's just, you get a buzz of it.
It is.
Yeah, you know what I mean.
It's surreal a bit for sure.
Yeah, exactly. So Loco, what's popping, people? Tell you now to support the channel, but he's giving you direct orders. Hit the like button, the bell notifications to get updated on the channel. 1/6 Fix, Marco and Gigi. Absolutely. I've subbed to you twice, Marco. One on my
thank you.
One on my 1/6 Figure Focus, and then one on my I do a crypto channel as well called Cryptalk, and for my sins, and I think I have a burner account as well, which is subbed to. Marco obviously getting people ready in the chat while he's waiting for me. 12-inch Moose Stream, hit the like button at 2:45. Good stuff, thank you. Empire Strikes again, another staple in the community and definitely present. He's ever omnipresent in the streams. Love these streams. Number 2 collectors. No two collectors have ever been the same. Yeah, absolutely, definitely. And you obviously get that from your origins as well. Like everyone has a different origin story.
Absolutely. And some of these could go on for hours and hours, so you're always learning new stuff every time.
We have so you're obviously punching. I'm just going to say it straight out, man. I'm going to say this straight out. Like, you're definitely 100% punching. I know in my relationship I'm definitely the reacher too, so we have a lot of common ground. Gigi, thank you for being in the chat and for all your insights in the 1/6 Fix streams. Sometimes when I'm on the fence about something and I think I'm being illogical, I watch 1/6 Fix and I'm like, no, she's right. Gigi be talking you out of something. I'd be like, they're all solid points. She's definitely a lawyer. So no, I'm not going to get that thing that I was going to enable myself. Yeah. She's
She makes great
Rock
points always. Yeah, and apologies for her not being able to join today. She's prepping for a hearing next week, so she's like nose deep in the books, but she's still listening.
It's okay. That sounds marginally more important than this, but I'll forgive her this one. No, that's no problem
she's
at all. I
listening
hope it goes
especially
well.
to make sure if I reveal any new figures or cases or anything that I haven't told her about yet, she's always got an ear to the ground. So
I disagree. I think she's listening to me to see if I will spill any of your secrets, like I have a habit with those 3 jokers.
that's a good point. The 3 jokers, that was almost the end of me, to be honest.
I think it was nearly the end of. You're not allowed hanging around with Shane anymore.
Yeah, exactly.
Loco in there again. The insane one. I don't think I've ever seen. No, I have definitely seen him before. Or them. Hello there. Let's go. How are you, William Owens? Thanks for being here. We have Lael as well. Marco and Gigi, and he's buying 7 figures today.
It's a fact.
Lemore. Hello. Universal Key. Hello everyone. Oliver Pilgrim. He's a local saint and a local legend of what you know what he did to for ASG.
Yeah, I almost cried on that stream.
Yeah,
that was
man,
one of the most beautiful things I've ever seen. Yeah, just so generous, and Ben obviously made him emotional, and yeah, he just that's the really great part of this community. Everyone's just really looking out for each other.
Kind of restores faith in humanity, doesn't it?
It really does with all the
I totally get you. Yeah, it's 100%. Hit the like and subscribe button. Hit that like and subscribe button. Hit that like and subscribe button.
You guys are the best.
Yeah, the guys are really supporting. Lucky number 13. That suits Marco. Yeah, that's you're the lucky number 13. Ryan Smith. Shout out to Ryan Smith. Thank you very much for sending me on the ad of that quarter scale Vader. He sent me on this. He knew I was looking for a quarter scale Vader. He'd been watching some of the streams, obviously, and I am. And then he, there was one that was going for a reasonable price, but there was a bit of a defect on it, so I ended up like not going for it. But good looking out. I really do appreciate it. And Ryan, you have an open invite to come on an episode of Visions, because I'd love to get people who are not content creators on this as well. Like so, maybe he might be a little shy, but we'll see what happens. I might be able to convince him. Lael is in there as well. And Loco. Excellent. Good stuff.
The best hype men in the biz right there. Love you guys.
Yeah,
really appreciate that.
100%. Bleared Dad Life. What's up, everyone? How are you? And Peter from Triple G Comics. Okay, I'm way behind this chat, folks. Sorry, that's what I get for being late. Chuli, the Texas man, is here. We got Bob Dylan as well. What is the name of your crypto channel, Shane? Now that's strange. I'll write it in the chat, actually. So I need to get my act together with it, because I haven't been doing as regular videos, but I have a bit of a revamp going on at the moment. It's called Crypt Talk. It's about Bitcoin, but before you look at it, always do your own research. Never invest any more than you can afford to lose. Without any investment, there is risk. And with crypto, there is more risk. But yeah, that's it there. If anyone wants to check it out, I need to get regular content going. Sorry, with all of that there, I'm going to right in the deep end. Before
we jump into... Yeah, sorry, I'm interrupting you non-stop here, but I'm a bit of a casual, but did the intro song change? Is this an updated intro song?
No, there is... This is the intro to Visions. And then I have another intro for the focus, and then the No Loyalty is only been one episode. That's the one with the Star Wars theme.
Okay, I never caught that it was a different theme. I've got your other one so ingrained in my mind. Listening to it, I was like, oh, it's a bit different. So, awesome. Yeah,
it's they're just made on GarageBand on like the stock dubstep one. It takes 2 minutes, and I made them on the same kind of platform, so probably sound similar. So I'm gonna straight away ask you a question, and then I'm gonna briefly tell a story about how we actually know each other and how this happened, because I have to give you props. So I might put you under pressure, but at the same time I'll still ask you. I'll still give you credit where credit's due. Right, so I'll start you off easy. And people in the chat, feel free to participate in this. We got a lot of drops this week. Now, we're not going to discuss them in detail because I know that I discussed them in detail with you the other day, and I discussed them in detail with Lael today and Brother Cousins, and we're all excited. There's some lots of things they put out there. The question is, all you have to say is yes or no. So I'm going to name an item that was kind of showcased this week, and you're going to say yes or no. If you think they'll actually go up for pre-order, you can say yes. And if no, you can say no. You don't have to tell me your opinion on them. You don't have to tell me if you want them or not. Just, do you think they'll actually go up to pre-order or not? Because they're a bit divisive. Right, so yes or no.
You know that I'm terrible at following rules and directions, but I'm going to try my hardest to stick to the binary yes or no, okay?
Good, because I have other questions actually based on your obsessive nature.
Okay.
You'll see what I mean. I have a direct quote from it later on because I was watching Origins there today. So, yes or no, will they put the following up for pre-order? There's 5 items. The first item, 1989 Batwing.
I'm going to say yes on that one, especially being a smaller scale. I'm going to see that one. Okay.
N1 Starfighter, 1/6 scale.
Everyone's saying I'm a dummy for thinking this, but I think it's going up. They've got the Grogu in there. Okay, I'm saying too much. Yes, it will go up for pre-order.
That's fine. Quarter scale Mark 4. Or sorry, quarter scale Mark 6.
Mark 6, absolutely. Yeah, looks great.
Vulture?
That one I don't know. I'm going to say yes as well, though. I'm very optimistic today.
And Cobb Van't.
Yes, with the head sculpt.
Okay, so 5. Oh, with the head sculpt. Okay, so we got 5 then. So he's going 5 out of 5. Okay, so I think a lot of people, you're going to make a lot of people in the chat very, very happy. So I was going to mark the chat so I don't lose out.
And there's part of me that doesn't want all those up because I want less pressure. You know, I want less anxiety having to think about what I do and don't need to spend my money on. But you know what? Give the people what they want, right? It's a new Hot Toys. Let's go all in. 5 out of 5.
100%. I would be delighted if they put up that N1 Starfighter because I know that some of my collecting friends want it. I'll have to climb down and go, you said they wouldn't do it because I don't think they'll do it. But look, I'd be happy for the people that are actually want to get it. We're going to get started really briefly though. I have to tell a story about myself and Marco met and started communicating. So I moved into this house in September and I was just put together the detox behind me and I got the loop lights because I'd seen them on Jedi Patrol's channel. I thought they were really, really clean look. I like the white tone and you can't really see the wires and stuff. So I put up a post about the process on 6 Scale Scavengers Facebook page. Love the 6 Scale Scavengers and love their Facebook group. Very, very positive. That's actually how I started communicating a bit with Ryan Smith. And I just documented the process of how, putting together to 5 detox, showing the risers that I use, putting the loop lights together. And I think essentially like I was doing stage by stage before even figures were in there. And I think it was Mario tagged you in the post or something like that, or you commented on something and you asked a question like, how did you organize the wires or something? And me being like a teacher, maybe it's a teacher side of things, I didn't want to explain things like by halves because I find sometimes people might say, oh, you just use these, but then I'm a visual learner. I need to see how things work. So I just recorded a video and showed that I need to see it. Like directions, if someone told me you drive down the street, you turn left at the grocery store, and then you drive through a roundabout, and then you're there. I'm like, no, I need to see it. So I recorded a short video, took like 3 minutes, and just sent it to Marco. And Marco obviously he was delighted because I answered his questions and showed it. I just thought nothing of it, but we started communicating back and forth. Oh, you're picking this up, or how are you going to display this? And I just started an Instagram and I sent it to him and he was very, very encouraging about it. And then I was saying I'm thinking about starting a YouTube channel, but I just don't know if I'm going to take the plunge. And Marco was really, really go for it. Just go for it. Just do it. Don't think about it, do it. And my girlfriend was the same. She was like, no, look, you're into it. You can edit the videos, just go for it. And I just needed that little push. And I genuinely think that if Megan hadn't been supportive, it wouldn't have happened. And if Marco hadn't, if Marco hadn't just given you that little bit of push, So I made a pilot, like, you know, it was the Green Goblin pre-order preview, and I sent it to Marco, the first person to see it besides yourself, and he was like, "Man, nailed it! Just go for it." And he gave me some feedback. Some of the sounds was a bit high with, I think it was one of the R2 sounds I was using for the light. But massive thanks to Marco. I genuinely think the channel probably it might not exist if it wasn't for that little bit of push and encouragement. So huge props, and I do really appreciate it.
Well,
so I'm gonna stop talking.
Happy to provide any encouragement, but you were ready. And I know you said something about, my voice, something about, folks, it might not resonate with them. And I was like, it just gives you a unique aspect. You got a cool vision. Obviously you've got the interior design component and the budget component. So things that I really enjoyed. So I was really excited to see you start a channel. It's gone gangbusters, man. Really, really excited for you. So.
No, thanks very much. I do appreciate that, and just glad you're here. So, look, we'll start at the past. So, I want to know, what was your number one? What was the first ever Hot Toys figure you bought? I want to know who you bought it from. I want to know what was the price. How did you react to the price? Do you still have it? Did you think then, oh, this is just going to be one and done, or did you realize, I've opened a can of worms here? Because I was listening to the episode you did yesterday on Origins with Ty, and you said, like, you tend to go deep into things, you tend to kind of get obsessive about things, and like, I'm just quoting you back, and we have similar personalities, which we'll get to, but just tell us everything, outline it right from the start. How did it start?
Yeah, so we moved into a new home, it was at the end of 2019. And so I finally had my own little space that I told Gigi, I kind of want to make it a theater room. We don't want to drill into the walls too much because, it could end up being an office or a nursery in the future. We want to keep our options open. But I told her, there are these things called Hot Toys that I've had my eyes on for a long time. I think it was the Dark Knight figures that I first witnessed, and like always wanted them, but never had the space or the funds to really get one. So I told her, hey, this Thanos figure that they created, he's massive. It's expensive, but it would be a cool little centerpiece for the room. And so she looked at it. She's like, you're high for thinking you'll spend that, but you know what? Go for it. Get the Thanos. And then this was during the pandemic. And so I think I ordered off a Sideshow and nothing was shipping. I was like, well, it says this date, but nothing's coming up. And so I started like researching, going on Reddit, like, oh, what's the typical release dates for these? And realized like, oh, Sideshow's not shipping anything now. You're better off, canceling your order with them, and looking at Hong Kong, looking at overseas. And so in the meantime, I looked at what was in stock. So I canceled my order with Sideshow, looked at what was in stock for them. And it was actually the concept art Captain America that was in stock. And I was like, oh, silver and black cap. Like, this is gorgeous. Ordered that one. So that was the first figure I ever actually, got my hands on, and was like blown away. And I was like, okay, well, I started looking at what else they had to offer. In the meantime, I started shopping around. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like, wow, this is really beautiful in hand. I will say it didn't quite one-to-one match my expectations of, the images that they have up on Sideshow with obviously the pristine lighting and Photoshop. And so I was like, okay, well, it was a slight step down from what I was expecting, but I was still really, really excited about the detail on these figures.
They'd hit the threshold,
Yeah, for sure. So they let me down a little bit, but not enough where I was like done with them. And so very intrigued about how other figures would look in hand. And so I actually went to your favorite retailer, Toys Wonderland, and bought my Thanos from there. Because even shipped,
we now bring you live for a sponsor.
That's right. Sponsored by. So even shipped, it was going to be less than Sideshow. Obviously, we know now that figure is a bargain bin figure. I could have waited, saved maybe $200 on him, but got him for a little less than the price I would have paid domestically. And so I was really excited about that. And opening that box, I was like, Gigi has some pictures of me. And I look like a kid on Christmas, just like on the floor, opening this box. And so after that, I was like, I think I bought Infinity War Thor and kind of went deep into looking at aftermarket figures. And so it was all history from there. But yeah, once I get into something like this, it's all go. So scary. And Gigi had to rein me back in a little bit.
But that's good. Like, all jokes aside, like there's some things that Gigi says, and I'm like, I've thought that before about myself, as in like, when does it end? Like, just another one, just another one. Like, and I'm, you know, like anyone who's ever seen me in a stream or watched the videos, I'm pretty disciplined when it comes to it. Like, you know, there's like, I'll just write off entire IPs. I'm not going down that line. Clone Wars, I'll never own a Clone Wars figure, as in from the animated series. What's the other one? The sequels, not a chance. Or there's another kind of Marvel TV shows. I've never bought a figure from a Marvel TV show.
Really?
Part of that is because I don't think the standard is high enough. I've never seen a seat that really draw me in, like, you know. And I know I know you're a big fan of WandaVision, yeah.
Can we say something about the Marvel TV shows though? I love so many aspects of them. They're just like, they feel like incomplete products. They'll have like 2 or 3 really strong episodes and some of like the best MCU content you've ever seen.
Completely.
And then they'll just devolve to like people flying CGI, I don't know, Cartoon Network looking, not Cartoon Network, let's see, Disney Channel, you know, original movie looking. Yeah, so it's just like they're inconsistent. But that's but there's enough to love for me to get representation. But what are some of the other lines you've written off?
Well, the entire Clone Wars, and I'm watching it, and I know I'm going to love it. I know what, like, people say when you get to 5, 6, and 7, you're going to love it. But wrote them off. Just it doesn't make sense anyway because I haven't watched them. And even though I know when I watch them, if I love them, I'm still going to go, no, stay in your lane on that. Or any of the Marvel TV shows. They're 2 of the big ones, and that's a lot of money saved. Because it's like, you know, I just don't find them that great, so I don't collect them. But my point is that, like, you know, she talks a lot of sense. She really does. Like, and by the sound of things, you need to be reined in a little bit. Would that be inaccurate or?
No doubt about it. She's a great sounding board. And a lot of the times I'll just end up doing whatever my heart tells me to do anyways. But she does make a lot of solid points about like, why would you need 3 Iron Men? You know, for me, there's like certain representations that I'm like, I'm going to need all of these. But she does make a good point. Like, could you just have one definitive one? Could you just have the battle damaged 85 and call it a day? Probably. Probably like a normal sane person could do that. But for me, it's hard. So yeah, she's always got different non-collector perspectives, which is great because, you know, we're in this almost echo chamber. We're like listening to all each other's opinions and encouraging each other. And so it's so easy to get caught up in the hype. To have someone who's a bit outside of that, it's always great to give me a little bit of balance.
That kind of grounded, yeah. And I'm not going to lie, even as much as I do think I tend to say I curate and don't collect. You know, which there's hoarding, there's collecting, and then there's curating. I think a lot of that is because I have a limited amount of space. This is my room. I can do what I want with it. You know, I'm actually very, very lucky. I do actually have a clone a Troopers display down the living room, like, but that's it. Nothing anywhere else, like, you know. And I know that I'm pushing it, even having that, like, but space is still limited, like, you know what I mean. And people talk about this storm we're going through now with Hot Toys, but the storm is never going to end. It's just going to go. The wind speed is just going to fluctuate. You know, we're in a kind of high wind storm now, and things are dropping left, right, and center. And then the wind will subside a bit, and then the wind will pick up again. You'll have more drops.
Maybe we get less content in the future once people actually tire of these superhero properties. But, you know, if the box office is any indication, Thor's still making a ton of money. It wasn't even particularly that strong, in my opinion. People are still eating this stuff up, so I don't think there's any slowing down on the content. Yeah,
I'm just going to call a spade a spade. Like, I haven't seen with the exception of No Way Home, I haven't seen a good MCU film since the Endgame. Like I wasn't a fan of Eternals, I wasn't a fan of Shang-Chi, wasn't a fan of Multiverse of Madness. And I think, am I missing one? And Thor, and again, each to their own. Like, you know what I mean? Someone could turn around and say they weren't a fan of The Dark Knight, but we'd tell them people where to go, wouldn't we, Marco?
That's right. Yeah, if you don't like The Dark Knight, we've got to reconsider our friendship. Yeah,
but like it's I know I don't get that. Although, like, I'll always reference Six Gun Mafia. Anthony is not a fan of The Dark Knight at all, but we still go on. We still stream together, and it's just like, I just accept it. I've mentioned it in other streams before. I just accept it. Yeah, he doesn't like it. It's no big deal. I'm sure there's things that he liked that I don't like. Just it's no big deal. It's just because we're all adults.
No, and I say that in jest.
Yeah.
But I personally like having friends with different viewpoints and different, if that's like political or anything on the spectrum. It's just like, it's good to surround yourself with people that have different opinions and not be in an echo chamber where you're just getting the same opinion fed back to you. So I do appreciate if someone doesn't like something. That being said, if you don't like the Dark Knight, something's wrong with you. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I get you. I'm surprised that Lael still lets me back on Collector's Lounge, to be honest. Like, after I gave my honest opinion of the Multiverse of Madness, and like, he loved it and I just did not like it at all. But if we survived that, I think we survived ending. It brought us closer, I feel like.
There you go.
So you're the first one you got in hand. Did you say that was Concept Cap?
Concept Cap, yes.
But it wasn't the first one you ordered. The first one you ordered was Thanos, yeah?
First one I ordered was Thanos, canceled, bought from overseas, but then bought Concept Cap domestically from Sideshow. So, I think that's definitely the way to do it. Like, get one of these in hand first before you go down a pre-ordering binge. Like, it's so easy to do. So, that was definitely my strategy. Like, I got to see one of these before I, start pursuing any more. And that Concept Art Cap is... Yeah.
Sorry, what were you going to say there?
No, I was going to say it's a beautiful figure. Like, it's gorgeous. It really is.
I've heard it has the best proportions, body proportions, like the most accurate one there is. Like, just it looks more like I think the shoulders are more naturally, the more accurate to Chris Evans.
Exactly. No, I would agree with that. And just the proportions all around, even in the legs, everything is, Although this Endgame Captain America is great as well, but they should have used that other one as a base. Gotcha,
yeah. So where did it go from there? Just want to kind of really like flesh out the past there. So now you have the first one in hand was Concept Cap. The second one in your hand was
the second one in hand was Thanos. Sorry, I broke there for a second. And then
was that Endgame?
That was the Infinity. I'm trying to think what he's branded as. I think he's branded as Endgame Thanos. Yes, this one that's right here, which I'm shocked that
he has the armor, the clean armor.
Exactly, the clean armor one.
And then after that,
so it's all kind of a blur, but I think I went with Infinity War Thor after that. And that Hemsworth sculpt, because I had something in my mind like, I'm going to go with all these black figures to kind of match, right? Like, again, I'm a Raiders fan. I love the silver and black. And I was like, okay, we've got this black Thor. We've got this black Captain America. Maybe see what Iron Man might be out there that would be like silver or black. And so that was where my mind was going. And then I decided, like, I'm trying to think. I was like, I'm going to stick to Marvel. And then I went after... the Darth Maul, that I think it's DX-17 with the blood fin, and so totally like went askew with the blood fin. Isn't that the bike that he comes with?
Oh right, yeah. I didn't realize that's what it was called.
I think that's what it is. In the chat, correct me if I'm wrong there. I'm gonna look like a real casual if I'm wrong, but yeah. So got that guy, and the rest is a blur, honestly. I can't recall what else I got in between. I'd have to look at my spreadsheet, but it started just like watching all the streams and just really being immersed in the world and being all over Reddit and just really starting to find out like, what else did they make in the past? And I've been pretty disciplined to not going back to buy figures too often, but there's very few where I'm like, okay, this is one that I'm gonna need. So for instance, the BVS Batman, I was like, I just love that suit. Say what you will about Ben Affleck's Batman, and personally, I really enjoy BVS as a film, but I was like, that's one that I'm going to have. So kind of went searching for a good deal on that. But yeah, Shane, it's kind of blurry in between those first few figures, the middle, and now. I can't really recall, if I'm being honest. I kind of blacked out. So maybe Gigi has a point about it.
That's fine.
Yeah.
The gist of it is you've kind of explained how it came about, and just curious, like you said, I knew you'd ordered from Sideshow and you canceled and you went over to foreign and stuff like that. Like, how did you first actually come across that they were a thing? maybe you explained that, might have missed it. How did you come across
Yeah.
that was they were actually a thing? Like,
That Hot
how
Toys
did you
were a
hear of
thing.
Hot Toys?
Yeah, so I think I follow a lot of like comic book and video game related content on Twitter, and so it may have been on Twitter that something came across my feed that they were making Dark Knight figures. I can't recall if it was, yeah, that had to have been it. So I saw, it must have been the DX 11 and 12 at the time, right? That's Joker and Batman, respectively. And so those were the first time, and I just remember thinking like, oh, I desperately want these, but just, again, didn't have the means or the space to like go after these figures. Yeah. And I was like a big action figure guy growing up, but have really paused. I guess I'll tell this anecdote that I've told on our channel before, but I think it was in the 6th grade. So like I was collecting action figures up until like a pretty advanced age in elementary school, I'd say. And my one friend who I would always, go over to his house to play action figures, I remember he and I talking about, I think it was Onslaught from the X-Men, whatever run, right? And he looks kind of like Magneto. He's like this overpowered bad guy. And so I ended up getting the figure and took it to school with me to show him. And he was about maybe a grade or two older than me. And so I showed him like at recess, like, hey, look at this. And he just looked at me and was like, cool, man. And I've never been more defeated in my life. And I just thought like in that moment, like, these aren't cool anymore. Like that's kind of passed us by. So I kind of let that get to me. And I think I slowed down on the action figures. But then So discovering Hot Toys always kind of had my eye on them. Like this would be cool to get back into, but maybe I don't need to, maybe I don't need to go down that road. So yeah, it's just the fact of, having a house with a dedicated room to my own that I finally was like, okay, I can finally start splurging on these.
Just one word. That is a very personal story. And there's just the one word that's bouncing around my head now, just like savage. Like,
oh gosh, this guy just destroyed me on the on the field.
Marco, you're in the
so.
right place here anyway. But like, you still know the guy?
I don't know him. I think my parents and his parents are still friends, but I've kind of lost touch of him. Yeah. So yeah, but maybe he's a Hot Toys collector now. Who knows?
The thing is, I guarantee if someone like anyone who's like kind of collected bits and pieces like that, where it's like figures when they're a kid, they see the standard this, even if like you don't collect anything, like it's hard not to be blown away by the attention to detail, the paint apps, the usual stuff like that. Sorry, I'm just, while you were talking there, I was just getting something ready because there was, I'll show you this chat here. Does Marco have a channel? Yeah, it's called 16fix. And what I was doing, I was trying to just cut and paste it into the comment section so people can sub to your channel. And as soon as I open up my phone, my AirPods reconnected. So I'm just going to take that now and just want to get your channel and just put into chat so people can actually follow you.
Appreciate that.
No problem. So 1 second now. So I have it here. Okay. So it's
and I will say to your point on the detail, right? Anytime people come over to our house and kind of look at the collection, I had one friend who was, talking a little smack about, I think Gigi was venting that I was spending all this money on these figures. And so he calls them dolls, which I don't care what people call them. They can call them whatever they want. But he was talking a lot of smack about my quote unquote dolls. And then he came over here and we had a few beers and I took him to the collection room and he was blown away. He was like, wow, these are way more detailed than I thought. He's like, when I was thinking of, what you were collecting, I was thinking of Barbies and this is not it. So I think even the most jaded person, it can kind of convince.
This is it. Even like, I remember showing my father the Mark 6 and he actually, he fair weather film fan. But he watched Iron Man, and I remember I didn't watch it with him, but he was like, "Have you seen that Iron Man film?" This is years ago, and he was like, "She's very good, isn't it?" And I was like, "Oh, it's deadly!" Like I was like, "All right, keep talking." He's like, "Yeah, Robert Downey Jr. makes it though," and I was like, "He does make it." So when he picked up the Mark 6, I had it set up with the lights and everything, and I was just kind of saying how difficult it was to get the lights in, and then I must have been in the room for about like 3 days trying to put these lights in. And this is only like, maybe 2 years ago when I was down at my parents' house because it got delivered there and whatever, 3 years ago, whenever I picked it up. When I had it finished and had it posed up and had it like with the mask off, I was like, take a look at this, and he was like, that looks exactly like Robert Downey Jr. He was genuinely going, and like Dad would have no interest in this stuff, but he's like, that is, you could tell he was going, that looks really, really good, like. But I'm just going to address some of these chats here before we move on a bit. So
let's do it.
Yeah, so Benjamin E. Green said, I loved your 1 minute review of Sideshow Collectibles 1/6 scale Star Wars Clone Wars animation, Obi-Wan and Anakin. Did you get a chance to watch that by any chance?
I have not yet, actually. No. I'm very behind on my YouTube content, but it's seeming like I'm getting a sense of where it went.
You're not missing much, but I'm trying to like when I established the channel, like the angle I was kind of going for is like, I'm going to speak my mind. If I don't like something, I'm going to say it, and I'm just going to outline my reasoning for it. If I like something, I'm going to say so, and I'm going to outline my reasoning for it. Like, but I didn't want to be like toxic. I didn't want to be uberly negative. I don't like something, I don't like it because of yada yada yada, and that's it.
True, you got to be constructive and really outline why you don't like something.
Exactly, because I do realize there's extremes. Like, there's people that say everything's great, everything's not great. There's people that say everything's trash, everything's not trash. And I want to be kind of just constructive. Maybe this is a 6 out of 7, maybe this is an 8, maybe it's a 2. But with that particular video, when you have nothing good to say, you may as well say nothing. But that's kind of a precursor to how it goes. It's just a bit of a skit. Maybe check it out if you haven't. But
I will absolutely check that out.
So does Marco have a channel? He does indeed. It's 1/6. So it's 1/6 space FIX. So 1/6 fix, and it's in. I put a comment in there. Ryan Smith, awesome collection. Marco, I noticed you rotate your collection a bit and love the Razor Crest. Roy Visor, I believe he was the man who.
Yeah, and I think he's big on the Billy bookcases as well. But yeah, he was the one that got in my head like, oh, maybe I don't need a display case for everything. I can kind of rotate in and out. You can get a new appreciation for your figure by reposing it and putting it in a different spot. So I think that's definitely like super helpful to appreciate what you have. That being said, I may or may not have ordered some Maji cases, so we can talk about that a bit more later.
Yeah. So the first time Gigi saw a Hot Toys price, she screamed like Thor's goats.
That is accurate.
Yeah. Those goats, man. There was a lot of comedy in that movie.
It was like started kind of funny, not funny at all, kind of went back to being funny. I'm a bit mixed on those goats, but it was a cool addition, I guess.
Yo, Shane, is that your 12th or 13th Corona? I wish. No, it's my 3rd. Bob Dylan, that's a fact. GG, keeping the chat alive. No way. We'll have to get a list from you, Bob Dylan. My problem was that I said yes too easy to the chat, Thanos. Big mistake. Yeah, you could have put Marco on a different direction. I think it's actually all your fault, GG.
And Shane, we did talk about this a bit yesterday, but I think her biggest issue with the collecting was we're in a pandemic, things are very uncertain, and you're spending all this money on collectibles. It's not a really smart investment. And so we can talk a bit later about how we've kind of split the difference, but that was definitely her main concern. So I get part of that.
That's fair. Far From Home was after Endgame. Oh yeah, I know that, but I was just like, as in, excluding not Far From Home. Oh, sorry, no, point taken. No, that's fair, Oliver Pilgrim, yeah. Far From Home was after Endgame, and I did like Far From Home, that is correct, yeah. I think maybe, I suppose, after Far From Home, really, in that next phase, basically phase 4, I think No Way Home was the only one I particularly liked. You're describing my marriage to Marco, Shane. What was I describing there?
I don't know what that's in reference to.
I can't remember. We're very, very far behind the chat here. Chudi said, my second was Deadpool from Deadpool 2, and that figure put me on cloud 9. Great figure. Have it there behind me, waiting for Cable.
That's one I would go back to get, honestly. If I saw the right deal, I would go snag him.
Especially with Cable coming out. Are you getting Cable, or are you allowed to say with Gigi watching?
Well, yeah, I probably will not get Cable, although I really did love Deadpool 2. I thought it was better than the first, so to have some representation might be cool, but we'll see where his price ends up in the market.
Good stuff. That's so it's youtube.com/16fix, so you don't actually need the / in between the 1 and the 6 there. Brilliant. You got someone who's subscribed here.
Awesome.
Like
Thank
and
you for
subscribe
that.
to these two legends. Can't wait to sit down, Shane. Yeah, Rich is coming on Visions. I just have to get through this week, and then I'm planning next week. So hopefully be next week if that sorts. Yeah, Marco, I'm never ashamed to tell people I collect and do toy photography, and most people the same reaction once they see them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
If I was as talented as Commander Green, I would not be ashamed of anything as well. And
Yeah,
I've grown
yeah.
to not be ashamed of this. I love my collection.
Yeah, absolutely. Marco, apparently you're on Collector's Lounge next week, so there you
Awesome.
go. So
I will be there. Looking forward to all the
you-
Comic-Con talk as well. So
yeah. Hopefully it'll be good as well. So just going to switch the banner here. We've established the foundations, where it started, where the collecting started, and I suppose we'll do that. Okay, it's that time again. All right. So, you're okay with the pressure? Yeah, you're all right. Yeah.
I am sweating, but a little bit because it's really hot over here, and less so being on the hot seat, but maybe 50-50. So
This room is absolutely like it's roasting right now. Okay, I'm gonna ask you straight out, who's the best Batman?
Christian Bale, that's my guy. That's my Batman. I did recently rewatch Batman Forever, and I do appreciate Val Kilmer's Batman. My goodness, those films are so imperfect and flawed. I love the designs.
So are you being serious?
So
As
am I
in
being
about Val
serious
Kilmer?
about, well, saying that that's my Batman, or?
No, you said Christian Bale was your Batman, but I'm saying,
Yeah.
Are you joking about the Val Kilmer thing?
No, like I actually like his portrayal as Batman, and I like a lot of aspects of that film, but it
Right.
is a really, it's tough to watch, let me put it that way. But I'm still going to get those Hot Toys.
And you had to watch that because I think next Tuesday that is the that's Collecting Weekly's film that you review on the Tuesday night, is it?
That's correct, yeah. And I won't even be on the stream next Tuesday, but I was able to pick that movie, so yeah, that's I'm looking forward to hearing everyone's thoughts, because the movie hasn't aged particularly well, for sure. But I remember as a kid, like, being so excited for that to come out. All the merch, all the McDonald's cups, and so there's just so much hype around it. It's kind of hard to separate the art from, like, all the excitement I had in my youth.
Just pure kid nostalgia.
Exactly.
Yeah. The Collecting Weekly there, again, if there's people in the chat who aren't subscribed to them, like, it's a no-brainer, really. I follow that series on the Tuesdays, and I watch that, like, yourself and John and Ben, Zach and Dean, and then whoever else is on it. And it makes me go back and rewatch some of those movies, just so I can kind of, if I haven't watched them in a while, I can kind of remember and enjoy the episode more. I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to go back and watch Batman Forever, like, but I might actually, just for
it's
for
tough.
the kid in me, like, yeah. So you were
Just
pretty
have a few more
quick to answer
pints and you'll
Christian
be.
Bale. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I thought it was the greatest film ever.
That's right.
Yeah, Bale's my Batman, and it's a strange one because 1989 Batman was the first movie I ever remember really loving. So, like, Keaton always has that place in my heart. Like, but I'm still gonna go Bale. Like, raspy voice and all. Like, but I just prefer that take and that suit and the trilogy, and there's so much. We could go on all day. We've discussed this in detail before, so we won't. But cool. So you're going Bale, and I presume
Easy
we'll have
choice.
a bunch of people. Sorry?
Easy choice for me. Yep.
And I presume there'll be people in the chat who will absolutely be disagreeing. So we've got the one. My first was Incinerator Trooper. Now 110. Wow, that's going deep.
Yeah.
It's an impressive collection. Arnie was the first deal for $20. Wow, that is a great deal. Yeah, man, Monday the 25th is good at me. Oh yeah, I've actually forgot we actually had penciled in a date. I have it on Instagram. I must schedule that and get everything sorted. Shane, not this question. No, it has to be asked. I'm so conflicted. Yeah, it's a tough one. I think, Bale just wins it out for me. We have an Adam West.
Yeah, it's not that tough though. It's Christian Bale, and obviously Keaton has his own special place, and being the first to do it on screen. Well, okay, in a more serious tone, but yeah, it's Christian Bale. Come on.
Yeah. I'm definitely a big fan of that trilogy. So we're going to throw out, let me see. They've all been great in their own respects when they played Batman from West to Affleck. Okay, very diplomatic kind of an answer there. Keaton, best Batman. Bruce Bale, the best Bruce Wayne. I've seen it a lot. Shiny. I don't think there's been the ultimate Batman yet, but I think Bale is the coolest one so far. Cool. Bale's voice is unbearable halfway through Batman Begins. I disagree with you there, Joe P. I think it was fine in the first movie. But then in the second movie, there was almost too much dialogue as Batman. I noticed that definitely during that last interaction between the Joker and him. Yeah, but like, look, it's something it's minor detail.
I look way past that.
Yeah, I can look straight past that because of the quality of the rest of the movies. But look, good input. Fair enough. A lot of people have that hang up over the voice. Who would you like to play Batman out of actors dead or alive? Now, I'm kind of dumb at Batman now, to be honest. Pattinson's doing a good job, but I'm like, maybe there's after he does his Inevitable trilogy, give it a break for like 50 years or something.
You know, I'm sure this has been floated out there before, but what do you think about Robert Downey Jr. as a Batman? That'd be kind of cool. Like, I don't know, he's getting up there in age, but like 10 years from now, when the Marvels, Robert Downey Jr., our Iron Man,
as a Batman,
if DC was ever to be like, okay, we got to, all right, fair enough, all right.
Hard pass.
I think he would crush it, if I'm being honest. But
Robert Downey Jr. Can I see that, man? So the present. So you've outlined how it started, and you outlined the first hot toy you got, and the price and who you got it from and everything. So like, for the present, like just I'll give you a starting point, and you can just talk. How many figures are you at? GJ, close your ears.
Yeah. I do have a spreadsheet that she will never see. So, we talk about this on our channel a lot, but we implemented, probably about halfway through my collecting journey, we implemented a tax. So every figure that I get, I kind of one for one put that into our shared account for, shared expenses like vacations or home repairs or, investments. So that's kind of keeping me a bit honest there. But
could you explain how that works? Explain how that works. So, I'm never going to do it, but maybe
no doubt.
Explain how it works a bit more. I'm a bit confused about it.
Okay, so let me give you a real world example here. I had just yesterday Moff Gideon and the Clone Wars Anakin come in. Now, in the past, Gigi would have been pretty upset by that because, again, as we mentioned, we're in a recession or headed towards a recession right now, so still not a great time to be spending frivolously. But the way that we split the difference is we've got our shared account, and so I'll put on my spreadsheet, hey, Anakin was this much, Moff Gideon was this much. I'm going to put that exact amount into our shared account as well. So, I'm paying for the figures and then also putting money into the account. So I've really got to be smart and strategic about how I save because, my funds are kind of split amongst these two responsibilities. So she's got a little bit more, I guess, comfort knowing that, we can go on those vacations. If we need to repair the fence or anything with the house, we can tap into those funds. So it's given her a bit more peace of mind and also given me a little bit more breathing room to do with my collection what I want. Because, in the past, getting two figures at once would have been, something to make her blood boil. And maybe it still does, but, she's a little bit more silent now because she knows, hey, these other responsibilities are being taken care of. Now, I know that's not a method that will work for everyone, but that's just personally what we've implemented, and it seems to be a bit more of a happy marriage opposed to where we were, before we implemented the tax.
So, let's say you bought the in-art Joker, the 2-pack, okay? Mm-hmm. And that's the bones of $1,000, yeah?
I think I'm going to pay about $1,100 for it.
Well, wouldn't you be paying like $2,200 because you're putting the same amount into the... Is that how it works?
Yeah, that's how it works. And I know your original question was how many figures I have, and so I will say that, but let me explain this here. That's how it works. For that particular figure, she and I came to an agreement, right? She is a future lawyer. I said, you know what? let my tax be $500 for that one. I will give it.
Yeah.
I will put it into the account right now. We will have that money in hand, and then when it comes, it'll just be. I'll just have to pay for that figure, which is obviously going to be a big expense, because it felt like very far fetched to put $1,100 in. So I'm contributing to the account all the time with every release I get. So she felt that was acceptable. Okay, put your 500 now, and then that one is accounted for the tax. So there are carve outs every now and then, but it's pretty rare that I get any exemptions. But that one felt like a special occasion.
Because like the way that conversation described, I just image of the two of you arriving to this big official office with a long table, and you're in a suit and she's in a suit, and she's got this big file, and this is the case, Marco versus Gigi, was this an acceptable offer? And you'd say no way, and then it was back and forth. That is hilarious.
Exactly.
But like, so if you buy a trooper, it's $220. You have to pay for it twice, essentially.
That's correct. Yes. So I have to pay for it twice.
Okay.
So again, it keeps me a bit more honest. That's two figures that I could have had, but instead I'm getting one and contributing to our shared account.
Okay. So now, these holidays, you have to make me a promise. And Gigi, if you're watching, please visit Ireland, because the first round is definitely on me, because you're going to be broke.
Yeah, exactly. And Shane, Ireland is actually pretty high on the list of places Gigi wants to visit. So I think it's Ireland, Greece, and going back to Italy. So we may need to, I know those geographically may not work out perfectly, but we do want a trip to Europe next year. So
Europe is pretty accessible. Like, I mean, you hop on a flight here, and Italy is like, I don't know, what's it, a 2-3 hour? No, it's not even that. I'd say it's about 3-hour flight tops, depending on the part you're going for. It's not even that long. I don't think it's very short. I'm not sure what the distance between Italy to Greece is, but they're short trips. They're not these long haul trips, like But
there you go.
But I was listening to your episode of Origins yesterday, and you mentioned the tax, and I was thinking about it, and I was thinking, I wonder would I try doing that and kind of go, okay, I'm not going to go 1 for 1. That's just, it's not going to work for me. But I might go, right, let's say 10%. Let's go, right. You buy something for $300. I just put, $30 into the shared account. Just watch it build up and build up and build up, because it's like, I don't know. It's maybe so it's kind of there's something there. I think there's something there. Maybe like it's not going to work for everyone, but there's
if you can tether your collecting to you getting penalized a little bit. Again, 1-to-1 is a bit outlandish, but if you can kind of penalize yourself every time you get a figure, maybe make you think twice about what you really need. And then also making sure you're saving for a rainy day. So yeah, I think it could be scaled to anyone's circumstance.
Yeah, cool. So in hand at the moment, what's your situation like in the house? Whether they're unboxed or not, how many 6 scale is there?
So I haven't counted them recently, but I think with the 2 that arrived, I'm a little bit under 50, I would say. And I'll have to get back to you with the exact count, but I'm in that threshold. So again, I could go on my spreadsheet and tally it up, and I should have done that before coming on here. But so I feel like my collection is, it's not massive, it's not small, it's just kind of in a comfortable realm right now for me. So with all the pre-orders coming in the next few years, it's gonna get to that area where it's getting a little bit out of control, definitely in both of our eyes. But there's so much good stuff coming that it'd be a shame to have to deprive myself of these releases. So I'm trying trying to get what I want, right? And you can't have
one
everything.
thing's for sure: you are going to stay in the nicest hotels in Italy, Ireland, and Greece.
There you go with all the taxes.
Whatever you want to do, wherever you want to stay, you'll be drinking only the finest red wine in Italy.
There we go.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I know that's a commendable, but So at the moment, so you're obviously displaying with your 3 details behind you. You're mentioning getting module cases. I suppose you mentioned the figures you have in hand. Do you know how many on pre-order you have? You can tell me the real figure after if you want off. But what do you tend to say when people ask you a question?
Let's see. I'm trying to be disciplined about the pre-orders, right? We know, and I've kind of learned the hard way on a few of these recently. Like for instance, Bro Thor and the bird shit Boba Fett, both of those have gone deep discount, and I when I get a figure, I will pay at or under retail for it with no shipping, no tax costs. Like that's my comfort zone. So if I'm able to lock something in there, I'm feeling pretty good about it. But the fact that they've gone so significantly under, it's really, really making me reconsider any pre-orders. But that being said, let's see. I will look at my pre-order list, and we've got... Let's just say 15. Let's round and say 15 things. Okay. But that does include the DeLorean. It includes the in-art Joker 2-pack. It includes the single sculpted pack that I'm getting. So some high dollar items within that 15.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. Just going to address some of these chats. I see we have Graham from the Jedi Knights Watch in here. So Graham's a friend of ours. Excellent content creator, really nice guy. If you haven't if I think Chuli is kind of new to, he's looking for like YouTubers and stuff like that. Definitely follow the Jedi's Night's Watch. I'd encourage anyone who isn't subbed to the Jedi's Night's Watch to do the same thing again. Robert Downey Jr. almost played Lex Luthor in a shelved BBS film early in the 2000s. Interesting. Scott Adkins would have made a great Batman according to the bearded nerdy oaf. Benjamin E. Green says spreadsheets, thumbs up.
They are our friend.
Marco needs to an eye scan to unlock the location of said spreadsheet. Some things are better kept a secret, but I'm totally like throwing him under the bus here in this whole episode.
And I'm
inflation
sweating.
Inflation is double for Marco. Regarding putting money away at the same time making purchases, great idea. Yeah, it's true. Okay. Maverick Lecter, how about who would be a good Batman of the golden era actors like Clark Gable, Rock Hudson, and David Niven? I wouldn't be in a position to answer that question. Any preference there?
You know, I couldn't really say honestly. I'm not as big of a buff of the more classic films, but Same. I like. Clark Gable. Let's go with that.
Yeah. Bruce Wayne vibes, maybe. Yes, you need to spoon feed the figures. Never overwhelm Gigi with multiple figures at a time.
Yeah, I really try to space out my releases, honestly. It's just they've been coming so fast and furious recently that it's not always the case. So I think that's the first time I've ever had 2 figures arrive at the same day, and it felt a bit dirty, if I'm being honest. So they're still unboxed. Still going to space out my unboxing like I got them, at separate times. But yeah, it's not a good look.
Yeah, and we'll be back on here in a while, and 3 will arrive on the one day, and
Oof.
I love this. Brutal. I get it. She gets a new kitchen, and you get a new Batcave.
There we go. Well said.
Yeah, I try and save as much as I'm spending. Yeah, you might not necessarily be alone on this, Marco. Go to Japan and visit Toy Sapien. Save on Hot Toy shipping and bring an extra suitcase.
This is a goal of mine, Bob Dylan. Japan is definitely on the list of places we want to go after Europe, so that would be amazing to do.
Yeah, Japan is supposed to be extremely expensive. That's before you take into account if you do actually do any pickups over there. Yeah. But it's supposed to be very expensive. But yeah, it would be on my list as well. I'd like to go to Niseko and go snowboarding because snowboarders nickname Japan Japao because of just amazing powder they get. That'd be an expensive trip, especially if you're going to Toy Sapiens, snowboarding in general, and Japan. Or Wagyu. I think they have this Wagyu beef. I saw this Wagyu steak or something like that. I saw this cooking show about it before. It's like this it's a cube of it's like a fillet of steak in a perfect cube. It's supposed to be amazing, but it's supposed to be really expensive too, unfortunately. What if you find a figure 50% off? It's not what you spend, it's what you save.
100%. And there's been a few deals recently, and I would even say older figures where it was too sweet for me to say no to. It's it wasn't in the budget. I didn't, I had to move around some money, but at the end of the day, if you come across a good deal, you want to be in a position to be able to pounce on it as well.
Yeah. Graham says, moving into a new, bigger house, and with inflation, I'm definitely going to need a new budget plan regarding Hot Toys. Need to be super disciplined. That is true. On the upside, though, the advantage, your collection, Graham, you've got some really nice grails as well there. So I mean,
he can afford to
Right,
be picky,
yeah.
right? He's got such a great collection already. He can say no to a lot of
that's
stuff.
definitely he's got some solid foundation in that collection. Right, so he basically whips himself every time you pre-orders. That's a bit of bit of punishment. Good idea on the saving, Marco. Ireland and Greece are my top two. Everyone, the tax. I'm harsh but fair. Well, no one actually said. No one actually said that you're harsh at all. In fact, everyone's actually saying it's a great idea. You're getting a lot of support here, Gigi. It's going to come out of this live stream a changed man. Shiny, the bird shit Boba cracks me up every time. It's funny, become known as that. Absolutely.
It just looks so much like that. You can't unsee it once you do.
Yeah. I have a 501st Clone Trooper kind of over the top of it. Oh, 14.
14.
14.
You're the one, huh, that has those 14.
Wow. So that's obviously has a big display in mind. Our wives, partners keep us grounded. Like you said, sometimes harsh but fair. Okay, good stuff. Oh, we have a celebrity here. We have Anthony 6-Gun Mafia. 140 pre-orders out there. Must choose wisely. 100%. We were just talking about you earlier on about myself and Marco love The Dark Knight, and we know that you're not a fan, but that's the whole thing that keeps it interesting. People, we disagree with each other, but we.
And you know what, Shane?
Get over it. Yep.
That's right. With the 140, I don't think Gigi understands the sheer amount of figures that get announced. And so like I feel like I'm being selective with the 15 pre-orders I have when there's so many out there. Again, I feel a little bit dirty about the 15 because it's like, oh, I could probably get better deals on those in the future. But, I've locked in rates that I feel at least comfortable with. But so much coming out.
Yeah, and there's people out there who literally get every single figure. Every single figure. Or every single Star Wars figure, whatever. So it's like, definitely picking and choosing is... it works. It definitely works for me, and sure, it's working for you as well. We could do it a lot worse, like.
No doubt about it. To each their own.
16fix. What I meant to say is that to say that's what I do as well. As far as receiving figures, I like to space them out. Good stuff.
Oh, there you go.
So we've the present. Then you're in around 50 figures, and you have about 15 pre-orders. So that's where you're at the moment, and you're displaying in 3D TOFs. And you mentioned module cases, but we might leave that for the future because that's the whole point. All right, okay, you're up again. So this is a question I want to ask you, so I've been listening to the origin story, and you mentioned that like things you really, really like, you tend to go deep into, and you said you're kind of obsessive about. I 100% have a similar personality trait. So like, what other things in your life have you become obsessive about in the past that you were like really like heavy into like?
Wow, this is a really great question, actually. One that I had never even thought to ask before. So kudos to you for asking this one. Some other things, I really am a big sports fan. So fantasy football, I will get so into it. Maybe that's another point of irritation from Gigi, where it's like, during football season, if there's not a football game on or fantasy football talk on, there's Hot Toys talk on. So not a lot of breathing room for other stuff in life. Mm-hmm. So big football, big basketball fan, less so baseball and soccer, but I do watch those. Video games as well. I used to play a lot and collect a lot of video games. Finding it harder and harder now to, find the time, although I've got this beautiful PS5 that I want to play more often. I think I prioritize, watching Hot Toys streams sometimes over actually playing. So yeah, I would say those are some of the areas that I go pretty deep into, both with participating in actually doing the thing, like watching sports or playing video games, but also watching content related to them. So yeah, I totally get Gigi's perspective when it's like, okay, you're getting pretty out of control with all this stuff. She's not wrong.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And this kind of ties into that, you outed yourself. You're like, I get kind of pretty deep into things. I kind of get obsessive when I like things, whatever. And I'm 100% like that. I'm big into sustainability. Like if someone asks me, will I still be collecting in 5 years' time? Yes. 10 years' time? Yes. In some capacity, will I be always collecting something for the rest of my life? barring any catastrophe, yes. But my whole thing is like sustainability. Like there's been a few times in my life where I've like something clicked with me and I'm like, I love this. I want to be involved in this in the rest of my life. Music, fitness, snowboarding, travel, and collecting art, movies. I know that for the rest of my life I want some capacity. You might not always have a YouTube channel, you might not always have a display like this, you might not always have 30, 40 figures, whatever. You might have to downsize it to like 10 or whatever. But like in terms of have you thought about that, like sustainability? You've kind of answered that in a way because you are picky. You don't collect everything. You're not a completionist. You have mentioned like the tax is like, it's, you're getting the figures in, but you're still saving for the future. So that's sustainable for not only your hobby, but your relationship, your finances, all that stuff. So did you do anything else to kind of keep your collecting sustainable? Is there anything else that you do?
Yeah, I'm really big on them being art pieces. I know, much like you, Shane, you want them to displayed properly. You want them to look nice, or else it kind of retracts from the value of them. And so for me, it's all about how I have them displayed. And I know we'll get into the Modu case talk in the future, but I do have these DTOS. I've got two Billy bookshelves on the sides of my TV, and I've also got some floating shelves over here. So for me, I spend a lot of time and effort and money into like trying to make sure my display is up to spec. So if I'm getting figures in that don't necessarily have, a place to display them, I'm thinking about how like I can rotate them accessibly. Sorry, there are dogs losing their mind over here. So
it's all right.
Let me know if I need to pause. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. And so I'm always thinking about the display option. And again, I'm okay with rotating to an extent, but I know that I can't, have 50 figures that I'm rotating in and out. So it's really all about how they look in the room and how easily it is to rotate or display everything. So that's ultimately at the end of the day, how I want my collection to be oriented around. And so that kind of like leaves me, only so much space to grow and to, store things. So that kind of keeps me grounded in not getting everything or not getting too out of control. So that's kind of where my plan is oriented. That being said, I could definitely see a future 2 years from now where I'm looking at further display options than what I have currently and what I have planned in the future.
Good stuff. Well, I think it's a good time as any to change the banner then from present to future. But just before that, we're going to hit you with one more of these. In a nutshell, reissues. What are your thoughts?
As a new collector, I personally love reissues. Now, I haven't really been stung with them reissuing figures that I've purchased, maybe except for the OG Mando, that Durasteel Mando, but I love the opportunity to get a figure that I missed out on, like the Christian Bale, the DX19. Now, I know he's not a straight reissue, he's more of a 2.0, but if they never went down that line again, I'd have to go back and try to, because I was going to add a Christian Bale to my collection at some point, right? I'd have to like,
and it wouldn't be as good.
It wouldn't have been as good, right? And maybe InArt comes along and that's the only way for me to get it, but like this, I love them revisiting figures. I'm less of a fan of the straight reissue if it's a bit older. It's like, give us some innovation with the 2.0 release. But I absolutely love when they revisit figures to give me personally, very selfish here, but to give me personally an opportunity to pick up something that I missed out on. And I very much feel like I'm the demographic of the reissues or targeted for the reissues, because it's like, okay, semi-new collectors, they weren't around, 5 years ago. And so let's take another bite at the apple and, give them an opportunity to get this guy. So a big fan from my perspective.
Yeah, I actually got my first Hot Toy in like 2009, but then there was a big gap, and then I started getting more around 2017. Again, like at the time back then, I wasn't in a position to, financially or in a position even to have a display space. Because I'm like you, like I'm not going to buy these. I don't want these in the box. I don't want these in the attic. I want them on the shelves. I want them presented. And Brother Cousins always says it, like, Brother Cousins. Yeah, it's definitely Brother Cousins says it's like how you display. You should, when you buy something, you should kind of have something how you display it. Like, you should have that in mind. Like, it's your display is as important as what your piece, like your piece that you actually collect. Yeah, but like, it's only a matter of time, surely, before they reissue this Mark 6. Like, so, and when they do, I'll be happy for the people. And people will, when they do reissue, people go, "Oh, what do you think of that?" And I'll have to say the same thing, and I will say the same thing, just for that transparency and consistency. Like, some people didn't have it. Who knows? Maybe it's even better than this, and I'll pick it up myself.
Does he swap out pieces with the battle damage that they're showing for the quarter scale version?
Yes. For the faceplate and the chest piece are the exact same, only the quarter scale is obviously bigger. But the shoulder pads and the legs, no. So
got it. Okay.
I don't know how that's going to work. Or is that quarter scale just a quarter scale battle damage version? Could be. I'm gonna have to throw an eye on that too.
Yeah.
So
that could be a way for them to get around that, though, is just release a straight up battle damage 6 scale Mark 6 and then kind of preserve the release you have with the more clean option. Could kind of split the difference there.
Man, the Mark 6 is my favorite armor. And then a quarter scale battle damage, you know how I feel about battle damage. So that would be like,
oh yeah,
I don't think I could turn that down. So like you said, yeah, you're dead right. The swap out parts here would be all the clean stuff goes on this guy, and just that battle damage one goes on a floating shelf or something. Good times. Good times. Good times. So the future, this is the hard one. Like, do you see yourself collecting in 5 years' time?
Yeah, I do. Honestly, if we have children in the next few years, I could see my priorities really shifting to that. I would hope they would. And maybe that means I slow down, but I always see myself collecting. I just am too enamored with these hot toys. They bring me too much joy that I could feel myself I don't think I'll get burnt out in the next 5 years and, step away from the hobby altogether. So even if I slow down, I still think I'll be collecting.
Yeah. What about 10 years' time?
I do. I just envision a bigger room. I don't think I'll be collecting in this specific room. But I think I'll be working a lot more towards my goal of, big theater room with really large, extravagant displays. That's the ultimate end game right there for me. Gotcha.
So you sound like you're going to be collecting in some capacity until the end of your days type of thing.
God willing, I will be collecting till the end of my days. Yeah, I'll be in the.
But if you keep up with your pre-orders, man, the end of your days are going to come quicker because Gigi's going to end you. Like, you know what I mean?
I know she's giving me the stink eye right now too. No, I'm kidding. But
well, that brings us to our next question. What do you think will last longer? Your collecting journey, your YouTube channel, or your marriage to Gigi? Be honest now.
Yeah, Gigi and I have been through a lot.
You don't have to answer that question. I'm just joking.
Yeah, no, I'm going to say it. I think my marriage with Gigi hopefully will be the through line there that I will prioritize above everything else. So
yeah, and it's funny. Again, going back to the origins that I was listening to. You touched on something there, myself and my girlfriend. We don't have any kids at the moment. I know that you mentioned, you don't have any kids at the moment, but who knows what will happen in the future. But going back to the sustainability thing, obviously you have kids, that is the priority. Do you know what I mean? Everything else is second. But I often wonder, okay, how, how's that going to go? What's the child's nursery going to be? And will I still be able to have this? Or how does it work? You know what I mean? But it's definitely one that is it's definitely worth kind of thinking about and stuff like that. But I just found it interesting because similar positions. So
absolutely,
going on in the future then, do you, in terms of display, you want a theater room, yeah?
That's the goal there. So currently the room I'm in is a spare bedroom that I've kind of taken over for a quote unquote theater room, but it's really just like a 55-inch OLED with all my, displays kind of around it. Ideally, I would get a room with, a projector or like a 77 or 82-inch TV, and then have, really larger displays. These may be incorporated in that room. Gigi right now has an office in the detached garage. So when we bought the house, they had, renovated it. They put a bathroom in. So we're thinking, that might be the space where I could put my collection, kind of blow out the wall to the other side and have this theater room. So can you ask the original question again? I'm sorry, I lost my...
No, the original question was just about the future and how you display things. You pretty much have answered it. You do see yourself collecting on into the future, and your display would be to go theater. Just have one question there. Would you get more details, or let's say you have your theater room and you have a room, you can do whatever you want with it. Would you consider expanding, going more details? Or you're just gonna go, no, I'm gonna get module cases now for the main collection, or how would you feel about that?
Yeah, so I kind of want both, actually, is where I'm thinking my direction is. I think you and I are the same. Well, obviously, based on our displays, where I, took inspiration from yours.
You're in the next room. People just don't know it.
That's right. We're just right next door. Thinking that the figures look best by themselves, like just a one or two. That's absolutely where the figures shine. But I don't know if you've seen the channel Parker Files. He's one of the scavengers as well.
Yeah.
And so he's got these beautiful Maji cases with like backgrounds and dioramas, and it's kind of like bringing a whole different level to the display. And I'd love to do that for like Marvel, DC, and Star Wars, and kind of have, more of an extravagant display along with these more one-off display options as well. So, I think that would kind of give me some room for some creativity to kind of mix things up, always keep it fresh. So that's really where I envision it. So still the Detolfs, still the Billy bookshelves, but then also hopefully Maji cases with some, larger envelope to display the figures together.
So you'd have the best of both worlds, really, then.
I'm trying to have my cake and eat it too, absolutely. Yeah.
I can see why you're tough work, Marco. Sorry, I totally cut you off, and I'm actually delighted at the same time I did. But go on, what were you going to say? Sorry.
No, not at all. I was just laughing, so I wasn't saying anything at all.
Okay, so this is the last question. I finish up all the episodes of this. You probably know it already, but let's say a disaster happens, and touch wood, like this never ever happens to anyone, but let's say the house is on fire, and Gigi's outside safely and Pancake is outside safely, and you're on your way out, and you have time to safely grab only 3 1/6 scale figures. Just in case this happens to anyone, don't ever do that. Just get out of the house. Yeah. But what are just humor me, what are your 3 fire figures that you would rescue from the fire?
Yeah, so I'm going to go all figures that I had to go backwards to get. Again, I try not to make a habit of collecting backwards because it's just too expensive and you just don't know the quality you're going to get. But luckily, some folks in the community, I was connected to these 3 figures. So number 1, this Mark 46 that came from Mario El Profesoro's collection. Grabbing that bad boy. That's his baby, he said. Take good care of him. So taking that along with me. And yes, I did totally name drop right there. I'm also grabbing this Harley Quinn, which is one that I've wanted for a while and was, lucky enough to grab that. And I think it's a beautiful figure. So going to snag that one. And then I'm going to get my BVS Batman because, I've got the Unreal Custom cape on there. I've spent a lot of time and effort tracking him down. So those are the 3 that I'm grabbing, with Pancake in my right arm and the figures in my in my other arm.
And you're saying Gigi can look after herself. She'll be fine.
She's good. Yeah, Gigi, come on, let's go. Grab some more figures if you can. Grab the PS5, all right?
Oh, you're cracking me up. All right, so just before we finish out, really quickly, just going to address some of these chats. Me too, 1/6 shooter. My display is going to look the opposite of Shane's and Marco's display. You must have a lot more figures, maybe. To the group, best bargain out there. Not sure what you're talking about. Maybe pop it down.
Just
in general.
Maybe just figure out there right now. I would direct you to go look at that rescue figure on Pop Culture. It's one that I've been considering. Yeah, that is deeply, deeply discounted.
202 shipped, I think.
I think so. Yeah.
And Bob Dylan just basically backed you up there.
There you go.
Got to shoot. Great shows ever. Thank you, Maverick Collector. Ending with batteries is heavily discounted. Yeah, because of the Australia issue. I've been waiting for a new electric guitar and amp, and I'm like, damn, that's my hot toy money. Bob Dylan batteries. Bob Dylan batteries are being cancelled. Yep. So I'm biased because I love her, but Harley Quinn with the skates, £107 on Toys Wonderland at the moment. Oh right, wow. Yeah, I spent double on that. That's not the one you have. You've got the one with the boots or something.
Yeah, I've got the Suicide Squad one. Yeah, she's got heels, which she's kind of a pain in the ass to keep standing, but cool figure.
I think that's the best one though. Reissues are good for those new to collecting, bad for resellers, but indifferent to those who got them first time round. Okay. Iron Patriot Mark II is under $300 shipped. Yep,
crazy.
I have it $230. I got it for. In 5 years' time, I see Marco collecting diapers and starting a 529 college fund.
529.
Oh God.
Oh, I couldn't even imagine having twins. That would just be insane. But you know what?
Yeah, but you know, if you have a boy and a girl, shut up shop. That's finished. You know what I mean?
That's right. Exactly. Yeah. You're right. One and
Hi,
done.
Gigi. Finally getting to meet you. I basically abused him for like the last hour.
Oh man. Shane says hi, and he says sorry for abusing me, but no, it's been a fun chat.
Oh, he didn't apologize. I definitely didn't apologize.
Oh, he didn't apologize.
Yeah. So would love to be on the show at some point. Send me a message on Instagram. Save on. So shiny, Harley's Grail. Hoping that In-Art would make one.
Oh, they
Good
absolutely.
choice,
You know, I think John said on, I think it was Lael's channel this last week that they will be doing a Harley next year. So no doubt that the value of this one will drop then, but something that I wanted to go after.
Good stuff. I wish Hot Toys would seriously look into and produce Star Wars, Clone Wars, animated style 1/6 figures. What are your thoughts, cough cough? That must be a dream about, or maybe that's a reference to my 1 minute review. Yeah. Someone needs to, because Sideshow aren't really doing it, are they?
And I'm actually glad they went the route that they did, though, because it just fits so much better with your existing Star Wars display. As someone who's not really a Clone Wars fan, I still have a lot of Clone Wars figures because they are such cool looking figures. So
yeah, I think that I thought they were going to knock that one out of the park. I thought that was all they had to do was get the joints right and get the likeness right, and they definitely didn't do the likeness. Right, Marco, so what's coming up on your channel?
Yeah, so we will be dropping the next episode of the She Said No podcast that I do with my wife Gigi, hopefully next week. So we'll be in San Diego for a little bit, not for Comic-Con, but for the hearing she has. I'm just tagging along. I'm hoping to kind of see the Comic-Con festivities, so maybe we'll talk a bit about that. But yeah, look for that next Friday. And then also want to have some friends of the channel on to talk about, you know, the most recent releases on this new series that we started, Bargain Bin Bros, kind of talking about figures that you should wait on before jumping the gun on. And I think that applies to all of them, to be honest. So,
yeah. And the ones you're picking are ones I'd be like, yeah, I would have said that would be slept on, like, and probably end up in the bargain bin and stuff like that.
But now we're gonna get to some tough ones, right? Like this Wolverine. I am so itching to like get a pre-order in for the Wolverine, but to what end? I could probably wait and pick them up on discount in 2 years. So it's like fighting your urge to get the security of a pre-order now.
Absolutely. Maybe end up on this comment then. Do you want to get your thoughts on this and then we'll call it a day?
Absolutely. So which figure is not announced I'd love to see Hot Toys announce? I'm going to go with an updated Bane. And I've seen some rumors that might be next, right? Maybe it was Anthony that was saying that. But could you imagine just updated with seamless arms or like 2 swappable arms? That's one that would come to the collection, no doubt about it.
Yeah, just get the body proportions done right. Yeah, my one would be a Hot Toys Zoe Kravitz. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
the Catwoman. That one too.
That's definitely. I saw that shocking third party one, like, so nope.
Oh, gosh.
Yeah. So, thanks very much for genuinely meant what I said at the start of the stream. Those little bits of encouragement go a long way, and I think you were definitely partly responsible to the success of my own channel. And actually, Mark was the first person who invited me onto any live stream. Lael's was the first live stream I appeared on because he just got in there. Mark, I scheduled to appear on 1/6 Fix.
We pushed it out a bit.
Yeah, but it was you were the first person to ask me onto any of them. So, folks, thank you very, very much to Marco for being here. Thank you very, very much for anyone who's ever watched any of the videos, any of the live streams, liked any of the content, subscribed to the channel, left a comment, interacted with, on Instagram. It's very much appreciated. And yeah, I think that's it. Or unless there's anything else you want to add, Marco, we're going to call it.
Yeah, I do want to ask a question. How close are you to 1,000? I'm seeing you're getting pretty dangerously close. How many more do we need?
That is a good question. So as of now, I'm on 922. So that's what's that, 78 more. So I'm going to pump out a load of content during the week and see what happens.
Okay. All right. Awesome. Yeah. And you know what? Well deserved. You've been working your butt off to get there, and just like really proud to see where your channel's gone. So Yeah, you're
Thanks very
crushing
much.
it, bro.
I do appreciate it. It's been a lot of fun. Genuinely, I didn't think it would grow. I didn't think it would go to 1,000. Or I know we're not there yet, but it's looking good.
It's
I
there.
didn't think it would grow this fast, to be honest, and I'm really enjoying it. Same thing I say all the time. Just really like interacting with the people in the chat or in live stream, just chat and collecting. So thanks very much, Marco. Thanks everyone in the chat. Thanks to Gigi.
you.
And yeah, I think we're out of here, folks. See you in the next one.